Hey everybody, welcome back to Onyx's Rambling Reviews. My cat says hello. Today's movie is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Spoilers ahead. As per usual, I will be recapping the whole movie, talking about my thoughts. I even have some theories that I wrote down as I watched the movie, and we'll go over those as well today. Let's get into this. Let's start. Saw this movie last night, gave it 4 stars. I had a great time. It's really fun. Now, to get into the actual movie, we start off, we pan over a city, I think it's definitely LA. We pan to a diner, Norm's. There's diner food. It's just, look, diners have a vibe, and this place got it right. 10:10 p.m. There's a little wiggle. It's not quite an earthquake, but there's a wiggle. And a man walks into the diner in a really weird outfit, like clear raincoat, and it circuit board kind of vibe looking thing. It's a whole thing. He keeps his thumb over thing. Definitely seems like he has a bomb. We learn later, it's not a bomb. He's looking for people to help him try to save the future. Why? We're not immediately given that answer, but we are told that he has tried this 117 times and he has yet to succeed. This is the 118th time, apparently. And the way he proves that he's done this so many times, he starts, as you do when you are from the future, and you've done time travel back to, you have time looping, you're just like, think of the Groundhog Day, where he's just like, hey, I can tell you everything about this person because I've learned their entire life story. He starts doing that with people in the diner. He's just like, you've died this many times because of XYZ reasons. This person, we usually end up having a weird love interest thing going on, and then she betrays me. Gerald has a bad knee, and he's just not worth taking. Old man, you die within 16 seconds. Dolores, the waitress, she picks up the phone and is going to call the police. Whether or not she does at any point is left up to suspicion. We know she doesn't do it at that point, but we don't know if she hasn't already or something. He's going on about how people are too reliant on their phones. The big thing, AI. AI is what ruined the future. People got so reliant on their phones. Morning phone time, where you're just laying in bed, just kept getting longer and longer until people stopped getting out of bed. They just stayed on their phones. And now people just kind of live in this AI world, but like half the population dies because we're all in this AI world. Nobody's taking care of anything to like sustain people. So he's trying to convince people to come help save the future. Nobody wants to. Until this random woman who's sitting in the back corner booth by herself. We learn later her name is Susan, and we'll learn more about Susan in a bit. But we're not there yet. No, she raises her hand, she joins up, she's like, yeah, I'll do this. The dude who's from the future, I don't actually know his name. He is just Man from the Future. That is what he is in the credits. Man from the Future. So I will just be referring to him as Future Man. Future Man throws a sausage at a dude. Gerald wants to help. Gerald raises his hand, he's just like, no, Gerald, you got a bad knee, you're not going to be useful. He doesn't want Gerald. Gerald has tried enough and failed. There's this girl who's like in the center. She looks like she's definitely had a day. She's in combat boots, this princess type dress, and you're just like, what is this girl's deal with looking like she does? We'll get to that also later. She's just like, I'll help, and he's just like, not you. Nah. We'll also get into why that is there. That's also very important. There's a lot of like nuances to these things. And they're really good with some continuity throughout this movie. I really enjoyed that. Eventually, they get enough people. He just starts pulling people from the crowd. He pulls out Mark and Janet, this couple. Scott. I think her name's Marie. And Bob. Bob is a scout troop leader. Assistant troop leader. We'll get to Bob in a moment. And then he's just like, you know what? We've never tried this group. We're also going to take Cinderella-looking girl. He's never tried this combination of people before to try to save the future. Most of the time, it sounds like they've never even made it really out of the diner before he has to reset. They get out of the diner this time. We get this group of people. Before we get out of the diner, we get a flashback to, it's either like a day or two before or earlier that day, and it's Mark and Janet. Janet is a teacher, and Mark is a substitute teacher at that school for the day. Mark is a sane man. Janet is scared of these teenagers, as are most of the teachers in this school. These teachers have no balls. They are honestly kind of pathetic. So he's a substitute. He gets 11th grade English. And he's just like, Anna Karenina, we're going to talk about this and read it. All of the kids are on their phones. This is the reality where people did not implement a no phone rule at schools, and it shows because these kids just, no, they are only on their phones. That is all it is. Mark is definitely one of the only sane people here. He's just like, these kids shouldn't be on their phones. I am trying to teach them. And then there's a school shooting, and really nobody's phased. They just go to like this safe room, wait for the alarm, and it's just like, how is school shooting so common in this universe that like it's just standard? Just like, the answer to that question is yes, they are just that common, and we'll get into that in a different flashback. No one's faced by shooting. We also learn these kids, I'm assuming they're supposed to be like Gen Z, maybe Gen Alpha, they suck. It's not entirely their fault, and that also falls into the next flashback that we'll be getting. Right now, we're just like, these kids are just jerks. They're rude. They're disrespectful. They just want me on their phones. And then there's this one girl who goes off about Pepsi for like 30 seconds. She's like, I haven't had a Pepsi today. I need to get a Pepsi. Can I go get a Pepsi? She says Pepsi almost every other word. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. And you gotta wonder why. Like, honestly, it's a sad life that these kids are living. But eventually he kind of gives up trying to get the kids off their phone. He just accepts it by a later period. And so he starts walking through and he's looking at the phones and he gets mesmerized by what he sees on one girl's phone. And then he leans in. He goes to her. I kept thinking she was gonna like smack his hand away. No, he touches the screen. Weird triangle pyramid thing shows up on the screen. And then it's just like something, like a switch gets flicked in the kids' brains. And that's such a cliche term. They all just turn on him, get up, as one being, it seems. These kids are a hive mind because of whatever they're watching on their phones now. But then they start going, and he gets to the teacher's lounge, which earlier we had a scene in there where he was complaining about these kids being on their phones. And when this one teacher had kind of made this, it looks like a toy space gun, like you would see like from like an old 1980s, 1970s TV show, but it like disrupts the phones very briefly. It's not a permanent thing, but it's just like, it's a brief like, and then they're kind of down, but then they come back. Those things actually do work because Janet and Mark end up running because the kids break into the teacher's lounge. They're not moving fast, they're just walking, but they break in and they're just going after Mark. I don't think they're going after any other teachers. They're focused on Mark because he's the one that touched the phone. And I still wonder, how is Mark the only sane person right now? Like, Janet's just like, why'd you do this? Why don't you just let them be on their phones? It's just like, excuse me, I'm trying to teach these kids something even though I'm only a substitute. It really gives zombie vibes a little bit. We don't know how they get out of the situation. They do get out of the school and into a car and they drive away. I don't know how long the kids keep chasing them or if they ever stop. But then we're back to in the diner. We're back in the diner and we learn, if you go out the front door of the diner, you're pretty much dead. Cops out there will shoot on sight. Back door, it is almost as bad as the front door, but you might have a few minutes to get away, or a few extra seconds. And then the side door is usually the best bet, but it's still not good. But that's the one where you more get beaten to death instead of shot to death. There's really no good way out of the diner. We find out Bob, our scoutmaster, has a gun, and he was going to use it to shoot Future Man, but he doesn't. And Future Man is just like, Bob, you got the gun? Okay, you're going to go out there and clear the path for us. Bob goes out there and is immediately killed. And that is the end of Bob's story in this movie. Very short. So Susan, this random woman who was sitting by herself in the back corner, suddenly knows of a fourth way out of this diner that Future Man, he has been through this 117 times. He's just like, we only got the 3 exits. How has this fourth one ever come up? I guess he's never taken somebody who might know about the cellar. No, but apparently there's a door in, I think it's the manager's office or something like that leads to the cellar, and there's like a vent that leads out. And that is how they go. And how does Susan know this? We'll get to that in her flashback. But we're not quite there yet. Also, he makes sure he gets everybody's phones. Future Man takes everybody's phones, throws them in a bucket of water. No more phones. The Cinderella-looking girl doesn't have a phone. Why? We'll get to that. There's a lot of we will get to this in this movie. So now we have our Susan flashback, and we learn about her. She's pulling up to this high school, where it's not the same high school that Mark and Janet taught at. At least I don't think it is. There was a school shooting, and her kid is one of the victims who has been killed in the shooting. It's a sad moment. Then she ends up at the police station to file a report, and there's these three moms who, there are weird vibes with these moms, and they're just like, is this your first time? And hearing that, you're just like, I'd hope it's you never want to have this be somebody's second time having their kid be killed in school shooting. These moms are just like, yeah, they give her this card for 142 Hope Way. But before she goes there, she goes back, she reminisces in her son's room. We see kind of his likes. We see a few references to some video games. There's a Portal post. We see a little plushie from Poppy Playtime. So clearly this kid does like video games. Or did. She goes to this place on the card that these moms gave her. The government is cloning children who have been killed in school shootings. The government is cloning people. These aren't robots. They say this is not robots. This is full on, like, whole human flesh and everything. The government is cloning people. This is not okay. Also, apparently it's really expensive, but if your kid goes to a public school, the government pays for most of it, and you can get a version where your kid has ads, which is even weirder, which also explains the Pepsi thing from earlier. If you're cloning your kid, first of all, no matter the cost, your kid shouldn't have to come with ads at that point. No, thank you. And that, in my opinion, this explains the hive mind thing. Most of these kids are probably clones of a dead kid. Whatever is creating the clone is an AI, I'm assuming, is messing with their brain, and they're all one now. As you clone your kid, you choose like a couple personality traits, a few flaws, hobbies, and when we get to the hobby screen for Susan's kid, she's just like, you see sports, art, video games. There's a good selection up there, and she's like, none of these hobbies are right. And I'm like, excuse me. He had a bunch of video game memorabilia and like stuff in his room. That kid definitely had a hobby of video games. So the fact the company's just like, we'll just give him sports. It doesn't matter, but it bothers me. It's just like, he clearly liked video games and you gave him sports. She's waiting. As she's waiting, the music that's playing is from Swan Lake. It's a very nice piece. Very, very calming. The kid comes out and we see that on the back of the clone, there's a barcode on the back of the neck. It's not like a normal barcode like we see on like any kind of box. It's like a U-shaped barcode. That doesn't matter, but it's different from a normal barcode. I figured that's important for something. It's not a triangle though. But triangles seem to be important, at least to the AI. The kid gets cloned. His ad that he gets is appleberry tea or something like that. He's sitting there. His mom brings him. They get home. It's either a day or two later, and she's like, "You can talk about this with me." He's like, and then he just randomly gets up and leaves. And she's like, "Where are you going?" Play sports. He goes out to their driveway and he starts playing basketball. There's no ball. He's just like, it's literally just like imaginary basketball. That's weird. And then we see she goes to this house party thing, therapy group, at one of the moms who gave her the card. These moms are weird. I theorize that these moms are clones as well. That's never proven to me. That doesn't matter to any of this plot, but I still theorize that those moms are also clones. All these different parents are just like, yeah, we've also cloned our kid because of a school shooting. Really, the city just needs to crack down on school shootings more. Instead of trying to clone kids, why don't you try to fix this problem? She meets this one couple who's just like, yeah, this is our 4th time cloning our kid. So we just decided to make her really weird. If I had a child, I do not. I am happily child-free. If I had a child and they died in a school shooting, and I had the option to clone them, I wouldn't choose that. Because that disrupts the natural order of everything. And it would feel wrong on so many different levels. Do not clone your children, please. That is the moral of this section of this review. Please do not clone your children. As she's leaving, this other dude comes up, and he's just like, there's this other company who is also working to try to clone kids, but they're not at the same level of playing. Right now they can just recreate the voice, and it's more so like a hard drive. And he gives her a hard drive, and she's like, you just need an earpiece, the hard drive, go to this website or something, and you'll be able to talk to your kid. You won't be able to see him. He's not like physically there or anything, but you can talk to him. And that is how she knows things and why she goes to help Future Man. And so, yeah, she does. She plugs it in, she gets that, and all of that happens. Flashback to present time. Yeah, present time. We find out there is a 9-year-old genius. I'm not saying this is not impossible, because literally there are kids out there who are just amazing at some skill and just literally a prodigy from like 2 years old even. So I'm not saying that this 9-year-old could not be creating this world-breaking AI. But it's also weird that it's a 9-year-old kid. No, but it's a 9-year-old kid. And in the future, they have made the safety protocols to help keep AI in check that didn't exist when this AI was being built. So he's come back to implement those protocols into this AI program before it can be launched. That is Future Man's goal. Good goal. I respect it. AI needs restrictions. You gotta have lines drawn that you can't cross, or else we're all screwed. We've seen Terminator. We know what happens. This is another movie. iRobot. There's just a whole bunch of movies about AI going wrong, and yet I feel like we haven't taken heed of any of those lessons. So they've gotten out of the diner, and they're in this alleyway, and there is a car down there. He's never gone this way, so he doesn't know about this car in this alleyway. There are 2 people in this car, and they have pig masks on. One is blue and one is pink. They're in a car, and they start chasing these people, and they end up, I guess it's a parking garage or something. They end up on the roof of the parking garage or warehouse or wherever it is. Well, first they go into the warehouse, and Future Man goes to scout the area, leaving the rest of the group, which is Mark, Janet, Cinderella-looking girl, her name is Ingrid, Marie, I think is her name, and Scott. Is that everybody? And Susan. Suddenly, Ingrid's nose starts to bleed, and she's like, does anybody have a cell phone? And Scott pulls one out, she's like, yeah, I have a backup, because we don't... Scott's a weird dude, but I kind of like him. He's funny. He has fun. She takes it, she throws it on the ground, and like just crunches it under her combat boot. It's pretty awesome, actually. I like Ingrid. This is where we find out she is allergic to technology or Wi-Fi. And at first you're like, huh? I promise this makes sense enough, I guess. So we're told at one point, because he has a map of the area where the house that he needs to get to, where this kid is building his AI, and where the diner is. And he's just like, on the roof of this place is a homeless man with a knife. And they end up on that roof, and they wake up the homeless man. The homeless man's name is Jerry. Yes, he does have a knife. It's more of a machete than a knife, but I guess one could consider that. It's just a really big knife. The people in the pig masks, Doug and Craig, I think his name is, park the car. They don't turn on the emergency brake, and so the car doesn't stay in park, and it starts rolling down backwards, and it's very slow going. They get to this point, they're running. Jerry injures one of them, or he doesn't kill him. I also don't know what happens to Jerry, but he does take one of the, or like draws the attention away from the group for a while. So Carl is now the only one focused on them, and so they're running. They get to the end of this narrow passageway. Maria, might be Martha, might be Marie. She runs out. Everybody else is held back by Future Man, and there is, I think it's Doug. He shoots Marie, and she's just like, I just wanted a slice of pie. She just wanted a slice of pie. That's why she was at that diner. And she was eating her slice of pie. I think it was pumpkin. That poor woman just wanted her pie. And I relate to that so much. I was like, man, I just want pie, and now I'm trapped in, like, dealing with saving the world. They get to the edge of, like, Future Man looks down, and they're just like, oh, there's a dumpster. There's always a convenient dumpster when the protagonists need there to be a convenient dumpster. They jump into it. Craig is up there. He's about to shoot into, because they're just like shooting fish in a barrel at that point. He's about to do that, and then the car comes down. Convenient car is convenient, and it crushes him against the barrier. Then the car keeps pushing against it. Craig's dead. Car's pushing. pushing, breaking the concrete barrier, which is not strong concrete if it's being broken that easily at that point. But the car starts falling. Ingrid is just standing there directly in the path of the car falling. And Future Man jumps and pushes her out of the way just in time for the car to come crashing down. And the resulting tremors from the crash landing opens the side of the dumpster, and everybody is able to get out. And then we get our Ingrid flashback after people are just like, she's weird, what's her problem? We find out, because it flashes back to her as a child in a doctor's office, and she's like, yeah, she is legitimately allergic to technology and Wi-Fi and things like that. You know, that's really gotta suck in this day and age. We find out why she's wearing the princess dress. She is a princess for hire. She doesn't do like name brand princesses like Snow White, Cinderella, etc. It's just she just puts on a pretty dress, a little tiara, she has a little wand, some nice little heels, and she really just, all we ever see her do at the parties for these kids is take the cake out and then make a wish. Boops the little girl on the head with the magic wand as the girl blows out her candles and just like, yay! I don't know what else she's there to do, but probably a little more than that. During the first scene that we see her doing this princess gig, we also see her meet Tim, who is a pizza delivery guy who does not like phones. He navigates using a map book, literally a book of maps. For LA, it is a thick book. No, so they get together. Flash forward like a few months, 6 months, and they're living happily together. He's been like, yeah, no, I'm totally fine not having technology. But then somebody sends him a VR headset. He doesn't order this. As far as we know, he doesn't order it. I believe him, but he's just like, you know what? I'm only going to use it in here, in this one room, and only when you're at work. Immediately, once he starts using it, you can see she gets like a headache, and she's like, I'm going to go get ready for it. She goes to work, and you can tell she's a little, because kids are using technology, and we see, like, as the parties progress, each part we see her at, more kids at the table have phones. She gets home from work. Is Tim still sitting there? Yeah, Tim is still sitting there in the VR world. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of that one episode of The Office where Dwight becomes addicted to Second Life. That's kind of how Tim describes what he experiences when he is in this VR world. And he's just like, good luck, have fun, don't die, which, if you know Cinema Sins, that's a roll credits moment there for you. No, and he's just like, that's just kind of a greeting we say in this VR world. Why? Such a weird greeting. She doesn't approve of this, but she's dealing with it to the best of her ability. She goes to this next party. We see her, this is the dress that she's wearing as she's trying to help save the world too. This is the party. She takes the cake out. As she sets it down, blood. So, like, there's like 5+ kids at that table with phones, so she's definitely being affected by her allergy there. When she gets home, Tim has made dinner. He's gotten her flowers. It's all very sweet. And he's just like, I'm moving into the VR world. He has this whole packet. And he's just like, look, they'll take care of me, and I can just be here. And it's, look, Ingrid is sane. Mark is sane. Janet, meh. Susan, Future Man, he's as sane as he can be for a man trying to fix the future. Scott is Scott. I don't know if I'd say he's sane or not. Most of the people in this movie, in my opinion, are not sane, except for the handful. Tim leaves, and she is just like, you're really leaving me for this VR world? He's like, yep. And then he goes, and she breaks his VR headset, because he left that behind. He doesn't need it anymore. She breaks it, she sets it on fire, and rides off on a motorcycle to the diner. And now we are back to the present time. The group has made it to a house that is like, it's not directly across the street from the house that they need to get to. It's like diagonally across the street. And he's just like, I don't make it here very often. And when I do, we never make it to the other house. Something always comes up. And it's always something different. Rats, military, SWAT, police. We get a montage of the group prepping for battle. We don't know what they're going to be up against. They try to like make light of the situation, be like, well, what if it's a centaur? What if it's kittens? What if it is a singular pug? They're like, what if it's not something bad that comes to us? Future Man is just like, take this seriously, please. And then they start prepping for battle, and we actually get a flash forward to his future. It's not his future as we see him as an adult, it's him as a kid, so it's like not fully in the future to where he is currently from. The future is snowy, very snowy. And this is the scene where I'm like, I have a theory that Ingrid is his mother. My theory for this stems from she keeps him away from all the tech. She keeps him hidden. She's just like, do not go near that. It is bad. He kind of resents her. She's like, one day I'll show you the sunrise. It's a gloomy future. So one day, they live in this little bunker. It's a nice little bunker. Kids are dumb in movies. And he sneaks out. He finds a VR headset. He turns it on, and that alerts a drone. And it finds them, and it blows up the bunker with his mother still inside. So she's dead, and it is his fault. We flash back to the present, but we know that he kind of goes on to live his life. He finds another group of people who aren't living in the VR world, and that is part of the group that probably helps him create this time travel device that he has. And yeah, that's the thing, that he keeps his thumb on this whole time that we think is a bomb, but it's not. It's just like, I keep my thumb here just in case I immediately need to press it to reset the timeline. It's just like, in this timeline, if I fail, I need to get out of here and reset as fast as I can. The rest of you are expendable. So then we're flashing back to the present, and they're all just sitting there on the couch. Future Man is sitting across from them eating a snowball and a Twinkie. He sprinkles, it's either salt or sugar, I'm not sure which, onto them. And he's eating them like with a fork and knife. It's very funny. The juxtaposition of eating like the most unfancy kind of food, like a Twinkie and a snowball, with like a fork and a knife on some nice china. I love it. The opponent shows up. We can blame Mark for this one. It is the army of teenagers on their phones, led by the triangle pyramid thing. I do not know why it is a triangle. That's never explained. It's just a triangle. It turns out that Mark and Jet still have those guns. So they use those. They get on the roof. Those two are just like, okay, you know what? We're going to go and distract them so you guys can get to that house and stop that kid. So they go. They may or may not live. I'm not sure. Future Man, Susan, and Ingrid jump off the roof. Scott jumps to a tree, and then he kind of gets stuck on the tree. And then, out of nowhere, this nightmare fuel thing shows up. It is massive. It has the body of a horse, or at least, yeah, the body of a horse. Its neck is like a giraffe's neck. It's very long, but it's made up of different cat heads, and it's just a giant cat head at the top. It is terrifying. And then it starts eating the teenagers. Mark and Janet taking care of that while the cat centaur horse thing nightmare fuel thing is eating teens. Scott, Susan, Ingrid, and Future Man make it to the house. They ring the doorbell, and they're just like, hi, we're from the school, and we are just like this because there was a school play, and this is definitely stage blood. Scott's just like, cherry flavored. Future Man doesn't trust the parents once they get inside. He's just like, you let us in way too easy. This feels wrong. Something's not right here. These walls are fake. Everything's fake. And the parents are definitely paid actors at that point. It's proven. They try to kill Future Man and his companions. Unfortunately, Scott does die here. He takes a meat thermometer to the head. The paid actor of the father does also go out. And the mom's just like, I'm not paid enough for this. And she runs. The group starts looking through the house to find where the kid is in the house. So that wall that he punches, Future Man punches down below, where he's just like, fake walls. It is a fake wall. They figured this out because there's a Roomba that goes under it. They go there, and it's this pathway that leads into this massive room where there's just a pyramid of wire with a small 9-year-old boy sitting on top of it. He is bald. That does not matter, but it is a fact. And he is just typing and eating his cheese puffs, and that kid types faster than I do. Triangles. There's a triangle that he is on this big screen. It looks like he's sitting on a pyramid. I still don't know the importance of triangles in this movie, but there's a lot of triangles. Ingrid starts to go through, and she's like, blood, because tech and Wi-Fi and all that. Obviously, she can't. Susan and Future Man go in there. They climb up, and they're trying to get the kid's attention. And the Future Man's just like, will you look at me? And the kid turns to him and screams, And Future Man's just like, and punch it, knocks the kid out. Just full on knocks the kid out. He falls down the pier. It's funny. Like, I'm not condoning abusing children. That's not my point here. That's not okay. Do not injure children. But in this case, it was just like very reactional because he's like, what'd you say? She's like, he scared me. And she's like, you know what? That would honestly might have been my reaction too. She's like, I have future strength. I don't know how strong I am. We find out that kid is also a clone. So he is technically an AI building an AI. Susan convinces Future Man to use her son, the hard drive, to help with the source code, the protocol code. So they put the thumb drive into the son hard drive, plug it in anywhere, and the minute they try to plug it in, the wires come to life. It's very sentient. And there's a lot of almost references with the toys. I think there's something that kind of reminds me it's a toy from Toy Story. The robot kind of makes me think Iron Giant. They're all robotic kind of toys, which is why they are responding with the tech and everything. They're trying to plug it in and Wi-Fi or something. I'm not sure what is where the wind and everything comes from, that they're forced back. They drop the hard drive. They're attached to another wall with the wires holding them there. Future Man has a knife that he drops. The robot toy picks up and comes over and stabs him in the chest. I don't know how deep of a wound it is, but he is stabbed. And Ingrid pushes through her allergy. She's like, I'm gonna do this. I just need to plug it in. And as she's getting close, we see the countdown on Future Man's watch, which, that timer right there, that's been his time until the AI goes live. So she's getting there. We see it's 3 seconds. Now you have the longest 3 seconds in cinema history. She's slowly getting there. We're in the AI world. She's not bleeding anymore. The kid's there, and he's talking to her. She's like, I can make everything better. She plugs it in. We're led to believe that this fixes everything. We see Mark and Janet are alive. They're in the back of a car. They definitely had some fun back there. Susan's kid, he shows up. He's no longer barcoded on the back. Ingrid is told, while she's in this AI world with this kid, that she is Future Man's mom. She is the reason he is there. But he does not have her affliction of being allergic to tech. They get out of the house after she plugs it in and things are supposed to be fixed. And he finally gets to see the sunrise. And then they call the ambulance because he's been stabbed. They need help. But then Ingrid's just like, wait a minute. Something's not right. Because Future Man goes back in time. Because he's just like, this isn't right. We didn't do it. I'm pretty sure that's true. Because we see a pug next to Genius Kid who's just like, good luck, have fun, don't die. The terrifying centaur, giraffe, cat thing is peeing glitter. I do not know how else to word that. It is, yep, that is what is happening. And then it eats Michael Pena, who is Mark. And then we jump back to, also Tim shows up, and I think that's her biggest clue that this isn't right. Because how did Tim get there? And then she gets taken into an ambulance because she's having a mental breakdown, according to everybody else. She's like, this isn't right. This isn't real. She is right. Tim shouldn't be there. Tim should be in a pod somewhere. I guess they didn't win. We're back to Norm's, the diner from the beginning. Future Man shows up, and instead of making a big entrance, he just goes over and sits with Ingrid. And he's just like, I know how we're going to do it. This little thing with the safety protocols, that's not the way. That's not going to do it. It's useless. It's worthless. We don't need it. What we need is to infect everybody with your allergy. How do you infect people with an allergy? I don't know how you infect people with an allergy, but that's the plan. That is good luck, have fun, don't die. To the best of my recollection with my notes. Which is probably the most notes I've taken on a movie thus far. I really enjoyed this movie, though. It was a really good time. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't as much time travel as I expected. Wanted a little bit more of that. Wanted a little bit more of the sci-fi vibe. Like, we get it because of the AI and everything. There is sci-fi involved, but it's not a sci-fi movie. It's definitely like an action comedy. And it's still a great movie. I love it. Definitely one of the better ones I've seen so far this year in terms of new releases. I would highly recommend going to see this in theaters if you can. Otherwise, definitely see it when it hits streaming or physical, whichever one is your vibe there. And if you have seen it, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Let me know if you realized that Ingrid was Future Man's mom early on in the movie, or if it took you getting to the end of the movie before when it's just told to you. Yeah, just let me know what you thought of it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!